Hi everyone, it's Milky. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have, by popular demand, my figure collection. So I started figure collecting probably back in 2021 or so. Before that, I honestly kind of thought that it was a bit of a silly hobby. I'm like, who would spend hundreds of dollars on plastic figures of anime girls? Me. I have become that person that spends hundreds of dollars on anime figures. But after that, I really got into it. Once I moved into my new apartment, I started shopping a lot for a lot of figures, and I've kind of just been on a roll collecting since then. So I guess so that it's not just a figure collection video, I'll talk a little bit about where I buy figures. So I buy figures both new and pre-owned. Obviously, if you're buying things pre-owned, it's a little bit cheaper, although not always. Some figures do go up in value. But my main place where I buy figures is AmiAmi. They're a Japanese website that offers both new and pre-owned figures. I've bought both types on there. They're really useful and easy to use. The website is in English. They ship internationally, although at the time of releasing this video, there are a bunch of issues with Japan stopping postage to the US, so hopefully that gets resolved soon, because otherwise I don't know where I'm going to be buying my figures. But they're really good. In addition to figures, they have things like dolls and plushies. They have a lot of Stan X collections on there. This is not sponsored by AmiAmi, but I wish. So yeah, I tend to buy figures on there. I mean, anything that's brand new obviously arrives nicely and safely and new, and they're pretty good about stating the issues with their pre-owned figures if there are any. So they'll list the condition like ABC, etc. If there's any damage, they'll write that down so you can have a peace of mind that you're buying something that will arrive in good condition. And obviously, of course, you don't have to worry about bootlegs on there, because I know that's often an issue with some figures. The other place that I tend to buy most often is secondhand from Japan on Mercari JP. I use the shopping service Buyee to buy from them. You can find a lot better deals than AmiAmi I found on there. AmiAmi can sometimes be a little bit pricier, and you can tend to find rarer items on Mercari. So I have some old Madoka dolls and things like that I found on there that I've never ever seen on AmiAmi. And then of course any secondhand US website you can find older figures on, eBay, regular Mercari, etc. But then you do run a bit more of a risk of dealing with other people. The Good Smile website is also a good place for pre-ordering figures, and if there are new Nendoroids or anything like that, I'll usually buy them on there. But bigger figures I tend to just pre-order on AmiAmi. So I mostly tend to collect figures from Madoka because that is my favorite series, and I just love collecting any Madoka things. In addition to that, I have a lot of Nekopara figures, some original characters. I'm just looking at my figure shelf now. I have some Miku figures. And then I also really like the artist Rurudo, so I have a lot of their character Eve in figure form. A warning, some of these figures are not quite safe for work, / they're on the more lewd side of the figure collecting. I'll try to split this up such that I'm first showing the more cutesy innocent ones and then the not so innocent ones later, just as a heads up, since I know it doesn't make everyone comfortable. So yeah, I hope you guys will like this video. It was rather highly requested, so hopefully if any of you are interested in figure collecting, then you can enjoy my collection. Also, I'm not going to be writing the names of the figures on the video, or probably even saying them very much, but I will link my figure collection website. Well, not my website, but my profile on there. If you don't know my figure collection, it's a really handy website where you can keep track of the figures that you own, the figures that you want, the figures that you've pre-ordered, so it's really good in that sense. You can also buy and sell figures on there, which I've done a couple of times. That's also a good place to go for figure shopping. You can, post on the listing, please, I want to buy this, etc., etc., and then maybe someone will reach out to you, offering to sell theirs. So yeah, if you're interested in more information about the figures, you can go to my profile on there, and then you can find the figure there and see its information and where you can buy it potentially. So with that, let's get started. I have my figures kind of in 3 main cabinets in my room, and then just kind of scattered around on some other shelves where they don't fit, so I'll just take you around, I guess, and you can enjoy my collection. So let's go. So the first main shelf that I have is this lovely blue one, which contains a lot of my Madoka figures. So let's get into it. So taking a closer look at this first shelf, just a quick little pan over everything, then I'll go into more detail. So at the very top here, I have my Mami, Madoka, and Cube pull-up collaboration dolls. I absolutely love these. I still need to add the Homura to my collection from this series, but these are definitely, for a long time they were like my grail figures, and I'm really glad that I have them. Next up I have this kimono style Madoka. She came out pretty recently. I pre-ordered her before I moved, so she's not a super new figure, but she's honestly one of my favorites. I love how dynamic her movement is, and then she has a cute little Cube fan, so I'm really a big fan of her, you might say. I then have this older kimono Madoka who has a really cute little Cube pouch. She's definitely a bit simpler. She wasn't too expensive. She's very cute. And I have a kimono Mami. They released a series of figures like this. She's the only one that I have from this collection. They have the other 4 girls also dressed up, but I liked this one because she has the little baby figure as well. But she's very pretty and has a nice little base with some cherry blossoms. On this shelf I have my holy quintet of the girls, and this Madoka was actually what started my figure collecting journey. I saw her come up for a good price on Mercari and I was like, why not? Because I always loved Madoka, and then it kind of spiraled into where we are now. But 4 of these figures are from the same collection. The Homura is actually from the older version of this Holy Quintet series, because these all have a very dynamic movement, whereas she's a bit more static, but I kind of liked this version of her more, so I decided to get her instead of the actual one that matches the set. But we have Madoka with her bow and arrow in a nice swirly position. At the back here we have Sayaka pulling out her sword. And we have Mami looking very cool. Oops. Looking very cool and floating. The Kyoko is also very cute. I love her little facial expression. She looks a bit silly. Her spear is huge, but she's cool and flying. Her base is massive to support how intense her pose is, but I think she looks really cool. And then the Homura is a bit simpler. She has a bow and a bow. She comes with different like hairstyles, so you can have her with the bow and without the bow. And I think this figure also has the option for glasses, which is pretty cool. On this shelf I have some slightly more obscure Madoka figures. This set of Madoka and Homura sitting on chairs are so cute. This is definitely a big grail of mine. I ended up getting this like without the box, but I didn't care too much because I have way too many boxes. But they're really cute. I love them so much. I then have this sitting Madoka, who's really cute. I love figures that aren't just standing in regular poses, so I like her for that reason. She's super cute, holding her little pillow, and I always think that this is cheese that she's sitting on. I'm not sure if that's what it's actually supposed to be, but she's really cute. Then I have a made Homura sitting on a macaron. This was from Ichiban Kuji, which is like the raffle system that you can get in Japan. So she was available in like 3 different colors. I think this purple, pink, and maybe brown, but I like this one because she has her glasses on and cute little braids. I then have this ultimate Madoka and Devil Homura lying down figures. I really want to get like sticky dots and secure them to the bases because they're like not tethered on. Hello, will you move? Well, there we go. You can just like lift them off. But I have yet to do that. So for now they're here, and it's really cute because if I can get this to work, you can make them hold hands. So I love them. There's also like a closed eye version of this, but these were the ones that I found. And then I really like this figure. She was also like a prize type of figure or a raffle figure, but I have this Mami dressed in a Charlotte/baby outfit. This baby is cute and swirls around. Honestly, I really want this outfit. It'd be so cute. Maybe I need to make something like it someday. And she's standing on a little cheese stand. So that is this cabinet. Next up is this cube cabinet thing from IKEA. I mostly have plushies and manga on this, but I do have a few simpler figures, so let's go through them. On this very cinema rolly shelf, I have a few Mikus. I have my white version of the Rurudo Miku. I think that she's really cute. I also have her in black, but I liked them both enough and they felt so distinct that I decided to keep both. And then have the Cinnamoroll collab Miku Nenderai. She's really cute. People don't like that her hair is hollow, but I feel like it would be so heavy otherwise, so it doesn't really bother me. And then she came with a little Cinnamoroll dressed in a Miku outfit. So she's super duper cute. And then I have another Cinnamoroll Miku. This is just a prize figure, but I love how bubbly her facial expression is, and her base is absolutely precious. I love cloud motifs and things, so she's super cute. Going down, I have a very pink shelf with some magical girls. I have this Madoka prize figure. I forget exactly what it's called, but it's really cute. Her dress is like pink and a little bit shiny, which I think is really fun. Please ignore how dusty this shelf is. I then have another Madoka figure, prize figure, where she's just sitting down. I think this is like the same series as this, but for her they released like all of the girls dressed like this. I then have the character Yuki from the anime Yuki Yuna is a Hero, which is honestly one of my favorite magical girl animes after Madoka Magica. She's cute. She has her little attack lines and then her little cow familiar. And then I have Ilya from Fate. She's from the Fate series. I forget the exact name, but she's a pink magical girl, so I had to get her. I haven't even seen the show, honestly, but I thought that she was cute, so I'm a poser. Forgive me for that. Moving on my little Twin Stars shelf, I have the Chi Nenderai from Chobits. It's very cute. She came with a lot of cute poses, but I decided just on this one for holding her book. And then I have this Love Letter Miku, who is very sweet looking. She matches the colors of this shelf so perfectly, so I decided to leave her here. And then lastly, I have one of the Flower Fairy Mikus. I think this is the Nemophila series, or something like that, but she's very pretty. I think she was one of the first ones to come out from the Flower series, which is a series that I really like, but she's really pretty. Again, just a prize figure, needle stopper, but she's cute. So that was all of my figures on here. On my vanity, I have a rather dusty Chino figure from Is the Order a Rabbit, like bathhouse style. I thought she was cute. And then she has like Tippy in 2 different forms. Above my desk, I have a bit of a Nekopara section. So I have pop-up parades of all of the girls, Azuki, Coconut, Vanilla, Chocola, Cinnamon, and Maple. I have these 2 little Hello Good Smiles of Chocolate and Vanilla. I think these are super duper cute. They did a really nice job with them. And then this was some other like little chibi figure version of Vanilla. I don't remember what she's called, but my friend got me her for my birthday. So that's all of them. And then underneath that, I have these 2 like younger version of Chocola and Vanilla. These also were released in their like black and white uniforms, but I like the pastel ones more, and their bases are like cheesecake. Super cute. On this shelf I have 2 Cardcaptor Sakura figures. It's very cluttered, but this is like my pink My Melody Cardcaptor Sakura shelf. These are just 2 cute poskets. I know people don't like cute poskets very much, but I thought that they were very cute with these 2 girls. So that's them. Next up here I have this yellow cabinet, which has, again, more Madoka figures. It has a few things on top, and then a shelf of like my smaller Madoka figures, and then lower down I have some like Nekopara Madoka mix stuff, and then it transitions into this Deltoff, which has more of my spicy figures, if you will, so I'll save those for last. I call this shelf my Madoka shrine because I have a lot of like Madoka fan art and official art, and then I have a ton of like Madoka Nendoroids and smaller figures, and then it kind of goes into Madoka, Nekopara, other figure things. So let's start with the top of it. I'm not going to go through art and things, but starting with figures, we have this Mami and Madoka Beach series. These are just prize figures. I got them for like 20 bucks for the set, which was really nice. Their bases aren't anything special, but they're quite cute. I love the beach ball for Mami, and then the Kibei ring for Madoka. Here I have 2 casual outfit prize figure Madoka series. This first one is from a collaboration with an anime that I always forget, but it's everywhere. She's really cute. Her base though is like hot pink and not very cute, so I'm not a fan of that. And then we have this cute casual outfit, Madoka. I love her hairstyle in this, and she has a cute little sweater, kibbe skirt, and I love like her little leg warmer shoe situation. She's very adorable. And then I don't know if these really count as figures, but I have these little like blind box charms. I thought these were like super tiny minifigure things, but they're actually charms. So I got a whole box of them, and now they kind of just lie around. But they're cute. I have them for all of the girls. I like their little dizzy eyes. So that's everything at the top of this. Moving down, I have a lot of Nendoroids and little figures, and then my Nagisa shrine. So let's start over here. So I moved some figures out of the way just so that you can see the ones in the back a bit better. I have all of the girls in this like Hello Good Smile figure format. I don't know, they were really cheap, but they were cute, and I got them when I was like first starting out my collection. I then have this Madoka Homura white dress figure series, kind of. These are prize figures, but they're really pretty, and I love their dresses. I then have a Madoka school uniform Figma figure. She actually came with half a box set of the PSP game, which I can't play because it's in Japanese. But it came with this little figure, which I thought was really cute. Then I have my Madoka Nendoroid, who I also got pretty early on in my figure collection. I love her pose and the way she's holding Kyubey. Here I've got a mini Nendoroid of Ultimate Madoka, and then Walpurgisnacht. This is also a Nendoroid. They released like Nendoroid versions of the witches, but she's a mini Nendoroid. In the same set was this little familiar. I then have Madoka in her kimono. There were two kimono versions. This is the one that matches the kimono figure of her that I have. I then have Ultimate Madoka. This is from the original release. They did a re-release, so because she's the original one, she's a little bit tough to assemble. So when I was moving her to show what was behind her, she kind of fell apart, but she's back together now. I then have a little Nendoroid mini of Madoka holding Kyubey. And I have Mami in her kimono that matches the one that I have the full figure of. And then here I have a little fluffy puffy Kyubey. That's the name of the series. It's kind of silly. So here are all my Nendoroids and tiny ones. And then I've got my Nagisa shrine. I really love collecting merch of her, of just like her in all her witch forms and her human form. So I have a good amount of those. I have her in her Ren format. This is also one of the mini Nendoroids. This tiny familiar, the fluffy puffy version of her. This was some like mini figure that I got for like $10, which is pretty nice. I have the Figma version of her. It's really cute. And then I have her in her Juddy Witch form. This one is also a mini Nendoroid. I have her actual Nendoroid. I love the bubble wand on this. It's really cute with the actual bubbles. And some more tiny ones. I think this guy came with her Figma. Some more guys. Oh no, this one came with her Figma. This, I think, came with her, I think the series is called like the Real Action Heroes or something like that. So her clothes are like actual fabric, which is really cool. I'm kind of annoyed because I bought her brand new, but then her stand broke when I was putting her together, which I think is just an issue with older plastic. I know people have a lot of problems with these figures where like their hands fall apart and they break, so I guess I'm lucky that it's not worse than that. But she's really cute. I have her sitting on just a box, and then I have just this little card of her from like the Madoka card game. So that's my Nagisa shrine. Moving down, I have probably what are my absolute favorite figures in my collection, and that's this Ultimate Madoka and Homura. I have the art of this hanging above here, and I have these figures. So these for a long time were like my huge grail. They were really hard to find, and then they actually re-released them, but I got them like 4 years before the re-release, and I'm glad I got them when I did. Madoka is just so beautiful. I feel like a lot of the Ultimate Madokas, she looks a little bit too intense and she doesn't feel very goddess-like and peaceful, but this one isn't quite like that. She's absolutely massive. I think she's like a 1/8 scale, but she's huge, and partially because of the wings, but overall she's just really big, very heavy, but she is absolutely beautiful. I love her so much. Then the Devil Homura is just as pretty. I love her massive bow, and her wings are gorgeous and very large. just the two of them. I then have a cute little Cardcaptor Sakura figure. Her base is really cool, it looks like a windstorm, but she's super adorable. I love Cardcaptor Sakura. And then at the start of my Nekopara collection, I have these Chocoline Vanilla Nendoroids. This base is actually not from them, it's from my Dress Up Darling Nendoroid. They were kind of starting to move into the spicier figures, but not the whole spicy shelf. We have this 1/4 scale Vanilla from Nekopara. Her clothes are real. This series was initially in just their like black and white uniforms, but then they released a bare leg version with them in their pastel outfits, which I kind of prefer. So she's really cute on a real beanbag. I then have the 1/4 scale Bunny Vanilla, which is funny that she's called the Bunny Vanilla because she doesn't come with bunny ears, but she's really cute. And then I got this figure pretty recently, but I absolutely love her. She is Chi on a power line. Sorry for the foot. So yeah, really cute, really detailed. I like the iridescent details of her outfit. Here I have a couple more Madoka figures. I have Ren Isuzu from Magia Record. She was probably like my second scale figure. I love her a lot. She's probably one of my favorite characters from Magia Record. I feel like I relate to her and her story a lot, so she's very dear to me. And overall, I love this figure and how dynamic it looks with all the moving around parts. I then have this beach version of Iroha from Magia Record and Magia Etc., I guess. I love her little parfait, it's so cute, and then the Kibe ring is also very nice. And then her stand looks like water, which is pretty cool. I then have this vampire Miku, cute in her little Jiraiya outfit. This is a Snow Miku, which I have a few of them. This one is like an older design, it's one of my favorites. She has a little snow rabbit, she's drinking her little sake, she's very adorable. You can take her hood off, but I like how it looks like this. She's supposed to be like a little strawberry daifuku. Here I've got some of my Dress Up Darling figures. I have this prize figure of Marion dressed as Liz, which is one of my favorite cosplays of hers. Her face is looking super pale in the video, but she looks normal in real life, I promise. Her base is really cute. I then have a Marion Nendoroid with her holding her terrible omurice, and she has her Shizuku body pillow. Also got this nice little Shizuku figure. She's very pretty and very busty. This is also a prize figure, but the quality is really nice. So at the top of my more spicy figure shelf, I have a nice little pastel setup with, I guess this isn't technically a figure, but I'll include her. This is the doll from the most recent Pull-Up Angelic Pretty collaboration. I just couldn't resist her. Her eyes are really pretty. And then I have two Sakura Mikus. I have this one where she's like dressed in a retro style, very short kimono. Her base is really cute. And she's holding a little soda. And then I have this sitting one, who's also very adorable. I'm now in my living room, which has more of my figures that match the vibes of my living room, which are kind of more planty and like darker in color. So on this shelf, I have these super cute mushroom girls. This red one right here was the first one that I got from this series. She's really beautiful. I love this figure series. They're like so intricately designed and their bases are so pretty. Let's see if I can turn her. She's carrying a little red cap mushroom umbrella. Super adorable, love her. And then I have this ink cap mushroom girl, also with a mushroom umbrella. She's kind of wearing more traditional type clothes. All of them are in kind of Lolita style outfits. And then here I have this girl. I forget what type of mushroom this is, but I think she might be my favorite. I just love how her umbrella looks and the touches of red in her figure. So she's very pretty. So these are the three of them. And then here I've got a bookshelf which has a lot of my boyfriend's Nendoroids, but I have a few things here as well. This Nanami figure is mine because he was my favorite from Jujutsu Kaisen. I then have my Laid Back Camp manga series, as well as these two cuties. A little tent, campfire, meal. I mostly just have Nendoroids in here. I have Sumire from Persona 5 Royal. She is my favorite girl. Love a good redhead. Down here, I've got one of my winter Mikus. I forget what year she's from. 2024. I also have this paper craft, which isn't a figure, but it's next to her. She's really cute. I love all the food themes in this, like her little shrimp sleeves, her hair accessories, her like details on the apron are also food, if it would focus, which it doesn't want to, which is very cute. I then have the Harvest Moon Miku, which is really cute. This is the re-released version. She's actually a pretty old figure, but then they came out with a new one and changed her proportions a bit, and I think she looks cuter this way. And then here I've got some Spy Family figures. I have this little Anya. She came with this plate that she's sitting on, which is convenient for displaying other things. I have my Yornendoroid, who this wine glass actually wasn't from her figure. She was like a freebie with one of my boyfriend's figures. And I figured that it was suiting for her if you've seen the anime or read the manga. I have Anya. I have this tiny Anya who is from a blind box. And then I have this figure right here. So that's everyone that I have in the living room. And now we move into the more spicy ones, so click away if you don't want to see that. I've got these cinnamon and maple figures. These are really pretty. They came out not too long ago, but it's the same series. They have the same series with chocolate and vanilla. I love the colors of the cinnamon. Her chair is really pretty. They have like little chains that you put on their feet. And then the maple's also really cute and it looks very aloof. And then I have a Shizuku Nendoroid in her iconic Slippery Girls face expression. Don't ask. So here we've got my Deltoff that's full of my slightly more suggestive figures. Quick pan down of everyone. Starting at the top, I have this angel figure who's honestly one of my more precious figures. I feel like she's gotten super duper rare now. Like I have people messaging me offering to buy her all the time, but I'm sorry, I don't want to part with her just quite yet. She's really pretty. I love figures with angel wings. I have this little nurse succubus figure drinking a blood bag. She's really cute. I like nurse themes in figures. I think that her hair and all her details are really pretty. I have this ballerina figure who's really beautiful. Her skirt is absolutely gorgeous. And then she's standing on a nice fluffy base. And then I have this Catgirl figure from SkyTube. This is an original character. She's really cute. She's sitting in a little ice cream cup and she has a bunch of cats with her. So she's really very cute. Here I've got some Nekopara figures. This is the vanilla that is from the same series as the cinnamon and maple that I just showed with the chair. But she's not wearing a shirt, so I can only show her from this angle. I then have a 1/12 scale vanilla in a swimsuit. She's very cute, very tiny. This isn't Nekopara, but this is Le Malin from Azure Lane, which honestly I'm not quite too sure what it is, but I love her design with all the butterflies and the light blue. She's super adorable. And her base is fluffy. And then I've got this vanilla and chocolate beach set. You can actually buy these figures separately, but I got the bundle with the two of them, so they came with like a separate base and hands where you can make them hold hands. I really like their swimsuit designs. I think these are so cute and I feel like they're really underrated as figures. But they're very adorable. This is kind of becoming my Eve/Rudo shelf. So I have this version of her. She's really pretty. It's a nice little velvety base. Love her. I have this nurse version of her. Focus. She has little like blood bag balloons and she's wearing a nurse uniform. Her base is this really cute bandaged acrylic heart. I love her and her tiny needle. And then back here I have another Eve. Her outfit is a little bit simpler, but I love how her hair drapes on her wings and I feel like she's really pretty in that sense. Back here, I think this is an original character. It's this little nurse succubus with quite the suggestive outfit, but I like her a lot. And then underneath I have Utena from Gushing Over Magical Girls. I thought that she would like being on this shelf. And then I have a simpler Le Malin figure from Azure Lane. She was the first one that came out before I got the one on the shelf above. So she's quite cute, but I'm trying to sell her right now. And then down here I have my bare leg 1/4 scale Chocolat. So she matches the vanilla that I have in my other cabinet. She's very large, wearing a real pink uniform, so she's pretty cute. Here I have my Race Clean Vanilla and Chocolat. Both are really cute. I feel like their faces are pretty unique, so I like them for that reason. Chocolat gets in the way, but her face isn't very interesting. And then the Chocolat is also very cute. They both look very bubbly and sweet. And then here I have the black version of the Rurudo Miku collab. She was the one that I got first, but I like her and the white version both a lot, so I keep both. So that's everyone here. Phew, that was a lot of figures. Hopefully you guys enjoyed seeing all of my figures. Let me know what your favorite one was down below. And with that, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a lovely, lovely day. Bye!